Okay. We are back.
I'm so excited.
I'm Sabrina.
I'm Taylor.
And we're back with another episode about how life gave us material.
It seems to be never ending.
Yes.
Unfortunately.
Record one episode, a lot happens. Okay, so let's dive right in. What are we going to be talking about today?
Health anxiety.
Okay.
And how deeply it can affect somebody, as well as their relationships with others and the overall past, present, future. Yeah.
Yes. Oh, I just before we dive in, I just want to mention that this is our first virtual recording. And I gotta say, it's kind of sad because it's much better when we're in person.
Yeah, not only do I prefer being in the same room with you while doing our recording, but I also prefer that I can like put the phone up on a stand and I don't have to like be pivoting my arm weird ways and like trying to stay in the frame.
Yeah.
But
we'll have to figure out that setup for you.
it's totally okay because I also enjoy just doing podcasts with you. So as much as I wish I was there, this is the
next best thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because we're what, 1,500 miles apart? That's far.
Terrible.
So our friendship is proof that you can have amazing long distance.
Oh, absolutely. If somebody says, "Oh, well, I can't be close friends with that person because they live X amount of miles away," that is bullpucky. And we've got all the tips and tricks. If you really want to be close friends with somebody that lives so very far away, there are so many ways to make that one work.
Yes.
I feel like I have people that live very close to me that do not have a front row seat to my life like you do. So.
Yeah. That's very true. For me, anyways. Okay. So I have a list of questions here that I'm going to ask you. And by the way, Taylor has no idea which questions I'm going to ask her. So,
which we should preface this, I think, by saying this is a Q&A session.
Yeah.
And I suffer personally from health anxiety.
Yeah. So we're doing this episode to just bring more awareness and to encourage other people that potentially be suffering from it or know somebody who's suffering from it. Right? Okay, so let me pick a question here. Okay, how would you describe health anxiety to someone who's never experienced it?
It almost nearly affects every part of your life in the way of, well, since I don't know all of your questions, I don't want to delve too deeply, but health anxiety is like almost being in a jail cell. It's like, and you're bound and gagged by this thing that you can't shake and you so desperately want to, and it affects every part of your life, from the decisions you make to the relationships that you have. And I mean, I guess that's all a very cliche, broad spectrum way of putting it. But health anxiety is basically you fear symptoms, you fear uncertainty, you fear that something is going to take you out, and if you don't act on that and you don't seek out that certainty, there's a high likelihood that you're going to be done for, and your life is going to be cut short when you could have acted within a timely manner. And health anxiety, it super inflates things, and it makes it something that it isn't always. It goes to the worst case scenarios. That's a good way of putting it. It's like, imagine like you have a sniffle. Health anxiety takes that sniffle and makes it, something where you need emergent medical attention. Or, you feel a tickle in your throat, a sore throat. I used to deal with this often. I had some tonsil issues, which that's another tricky part is if you've ever had health issues and then you also have health anxiety, it gets kind of compounded because you do have some experience with some worst case scenarios. So I know for me, like, when I would have a sore throat and I still had my tonsils, I would fear something like a paratonsillar abscess, which it's not that can't happen, but that's pretty extreme. And so I would hyperfixate. I would lose sleep over it. I would be constantly checking. Yeah. So I guess that's the long way of saying it's something that's very debilitating.
Yeah. So your body is oftentimes in fight or flight mode.
Yeah.
Instead of rest.
I'm apparently not very good at short. Like, I feel like I'm not, I don't know how, like, I know how it feels, but I might not do the best job at explaining it. And then I take the long way around. So apologies in advance.
That's okay. So this kind of goes off what you just shared. What does a good day versus a bad day look like?
So a good day in the realm of like health anxiety would be I'm not having any physical sensations. And I'm just, life feels great. I don't have anything that feels concerning to my anxiety. So just a normal ho-hum day, I guess. And I think there's also days, when you're a woman, the cycle days too, I think affect me in other ways. So it really depends on where I'm at in my cycle as well. I feel like that can also probably affect things with the stability factor and how I am able to approach things if something does pop up, because not every day is perfect. But yeah, if I'm having a day where like no symptoms show up, it's a golden day.
Yeah. So
no body noise.
You feel calm, peace, joy. Yeah. Like you're not like constantly.
I'm not consumed by bodily sensations.
Yeah, and feel the urge to go search for answers. Okay. What is going through your mind during a health anxiety spark?
I'm going to die. I think that is always that's like at the very top of the fear for when I'm going through an episode is I'm going to die. Or I'm going, like, if I don't act now, it's going to be something that's too late. And it might not have been something that would have been too late if I hadn't hesitated. Yeah, living in that uncertainty and when you're in a spiral is really, really hard. It's a very out of control feeling. Especially if, you're sitting in that uncertainty and there is the chance, because that's the thing. It's like, we don't have certainty with anything, right? But if I'm sitting in an uncertainty where it could be something that could be life-threatening, or it might not be, it might be something benign. But if there is the chance that it is life-threatening, my brain dwells in that, and getting out of that without getting the reassurance, aka like, going to the doctors or something like that, making sure I am truly okay is really hard.
So with that, when you're in the middle of that, how do you distinguish between a real medical emergency or concern versus just, this is anxiety, my body is just struggling?
That is the question I battle with constantly. Because anxiety is also the great mimicker. So, if you're going through something serious with your heart, you can have a bunch of symptoms that, if it was simply something that was anxiety, you could also have those same symptoms. So, I think it's more that's something I'm still working through. It's something that, like, for instance, I can give it, for instance, I am currently going through something where I have an area of my body that is bothering me. I discovered something with it that is, put my brain on alert. And it's something that I know is not currently something, like, I want to act on it. I want to get the certainty. I want to seek out medical attention. But I also know that I can wait. And so I have a certain timeline set of, I'm going to wait till X amount of time. And if that is still there, then we will seek out medical attention. I also think there has to be a level of trusting your body too, which I've learned that for me, it's hard to trust my body because it is on such high alert all the time. But what I've learned, for instance, like if my heart is racing, I've landed in the ER with a heart rate above 200 beats per minute. That's super fast. But it turned out I was having a panic attack. And so I think that element for me, if I learn, if we can calm my heart rate is typically always the telltale. If we can get it toggled down, if it toggles, that's always a pretty good sign. If it's hanging out and you can't get it to come down, that's where we start getting a little concerned. It's like, even if like the deep breaths and all of the little things that I know to do can't bring that calm, then we know, okay, it's go time. And a lot of times our body will let us know. So it's having to trust that as well.
So with that, what are some techniques that you have learned that you rely on that consistently help you reduce your anxiety?
So I'm currently working, I'm currently in those beginning stages of working through my health anxiety. It's still pretty intense. And so for me right now, I'm going through CBT. So it's cognitive behavioral therapy. And I don't remember the acronym for the other one, but it's like exposure therapy. And I do a lot of, I know for me, something that I typically rely on, and I already kind of touched on, is breathing. There are a lot of different breathing techniques out there. And so when I can tell I'm spinning out and I'm in a heavy anxiety ridden situation, I often do like the 4-7-8 method. So it's, breathe in for 4, hold for 7, breathe out for 8. And I have found that is really helpful. I've also found that distraction can be really helpful. Like so for me, music can actually be very distracting in a positive way if it's music that I really like. And I know ChatGPT isn't the answer for everything, but I was in a spiral one time and I got on the subject of music and I was talking to ChatGPT about music and it took my mind off of it. And so I came up with this, in those instances where my anxiety wants to flare, which, by the way, another thing, I have named my anxiety. So when it starts to flare, it's not me, it's Charleston. So, if you're close to me, you will often hear me say, if you say, how are you doing? Are you doing okay? I'll just be, oh, Charleston's being a butt. Charleston's being a butt. And naming it has really helped. So I will just, when worst case scenario will pop up or whatever, I'll be like, okay, Charleston, that's the worst case scenario. Chances are highly likely this is not what we're dealing with. And right now I need to go jam out with so-and-so, and I'll just like choose an artist in my brain and then I'll go listen to that artist's music or whatever. I found having stuff to keep my mind actively busy is what is best, because if I'm sitting, like, I love to knit and crochet, but if I'm sitting there and I'm doing something, like, for me, that's mindless. I'm doing something mindless. My brain is more likely to hyperfixate on the bodily sensations that I'm dealing with. Mm-hmm. I've also noticed, when So like last night I was dealing with some bodily sensations, and I was down at families, and I was interacting with my nieces and nephews. So my brain was actively engaged in that. I was present with those people, and it took my brain off of the sensations that I was dealing with, and they improved. And I think that's another thing that goes back to how do we know between what is actually we need to go in versus not is, if that was a true medical situation, the pain would have continued, like it wouldn't have been able to settle down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very
So those are just a few techniques. I know that there are so many more, but we're short on time. So
Let's see. I'm going to ask one question here. How can friends and family be supportive without feeding the anxiety?
that's a super good question. I think the one struggle with health anxiety, at least for me, is that I'm constantly reassurance seeking. And so in that, I will oftentimes go to people that are closest to me, and I will ask them, do you think I'm okay? Or can you look at, like if I have a physical symptom that's visible, can you look at this? Or can you palpate that? Like, can you make sure that this is not something?
Mm-hmm.
And that's a reassurance seeking behavior that it propels my anxiety. And so I think to support somebody with that, I think you can go into this realm of, if you're ever around somebody with it, they sound like a broken record. It's hard to be around that. But try to place yourself in that person's shoes. What they're dealing with is really, really hard. I've even heard it likened to like addiction. So like the reassurance seeking behavior, it's like it's feeding the addiction, if you will. And it's not something we want to be in. We want to be outside of it. We want to heal from it, but we can't get past our brains in that moment. And it is so, so, so hard. And so short, snappy responses from people can be really hurtful. It can make us spiral out even more in our brains and feel alone. And then like we have to just go to the doctors, we have to make our own decision. We can't lean on whatever. But I think in those moments, the best thing is validation. It's not reassuring, but it's validating that what you're going through is really hard. And I'm right here and I'm going to sit with you in this. And why don't we try one of those breathing techniques that you've learned? Or it might be as simple as, here, I know this is really hard for you. Let me make you a cup of tea and I'll sit beside you and, hold your hand, or maybe we could do something together that would get your brain busy in a different way. Mm-hmm. Ways that are not necessarily reassuring them, but it's validating and it's making it so that they know that you're right there. You're not going anywhere and they're not doing this alone. Because I think that's another fear with health anxiety is, and I don't want to say that that's validation is reassurance seeking, but I think it helps that part of the brain that's like, I don't have anybody. I'm all alone. And I'm gonna fade into the distance all by my little self, and then they're gonna find me, and this is awful. And it's
Yeah. Those are all real feelings. So what would you want somebody who's struggling with health anxiety to hear before we end, and what takeaway do you want people to remember from this conversation?
I would say if you're somebody that is currently in the trenches of health anxiety, I want you to know that you're not alone and that it's really hard and that I'm with you here in this. Health anxiety can feel so isolating, and I know that you're feeling that. And I want you to know that there is hope. There is healing. It's going to take work. It's going to take effort. But it is out there. And I believe in you. And I'm proud of you. And don't give up. And if you're feeling alone, if you're feeling isolated, if you're somebody dealing with health anxiety and you come across this episode, drop a comment. send a message. I understand. I don't want anybody to feel alone in this. I know there's a lot of good tools out there that can really help. And I think beyond that, anybody who's not struggling with health anxiety, that has somebody that's dealing with it, or might have newly come across somebody that's dealing with it, don't write that person off. Don't what's the word I'm looking for? Be patient with that person, because they are going through a constant, almost 24/7 battle that is not simple. It's so complex. And I remember back when I didn't deal with health anxiety, and to me, if I looked at that, it didn't seem like a big deal, but it really is. It alters every part of the brain and in how you live your life. It's paralyzing. And the greatest thing I think you can do for a person going through that is be a soft place to land, be steady, be there, and be validating.
Yeah. Very good. And I want to say my perspective from being your best friend is, I think a lot of times, I'm just like, I hear you, and just be a safe place where you can get on Polo and just talk through it, work through your anxiety, and then be like, I hear you and I'm praying for you. And, oftentimes I feel helpless, like I wish I could fix it, and I can't. But I think the best thing to do, I think anyways, is to just be a safe place and to listen, and not be like, you have health anxiety, I can't be your friend anymore.
Or even that element of snap out of it. It's not that hard. You have to just make the choice.
Yeah. It's not always that simple.
It's not that cut and dried. I wish it was, because let me tell you, any of us that are dealing with health anxiety, we do want to just snap out of it. We want to flip the switch. We want it to be that easy. Yeah. And it's not.
We rewire the brain pathways.
Exactly. I'm living in this perpetual state of fight or flight. My brain is constantly, not only does it feel like it's in danger a lot of the time with bodily sensations, it's always scanning for danger. And so, there's such a heightened awareness constantly there. And it's really hard. And having people that that have your back and are always there, it makes such a difference. And before we end this, something that I did want to mention that you had actually shared with me that has been helpful.
Oh.
And you actually just mentioned it to me very recently. When my brain has an urge to seek out reassurance, turn it towards gratitude, which I guess this was perfect, because we're wrapping it up and we're about to go into gratitude. Yeah. And so you opened up the line of, anytime that I feel like I'm spiraling into this needing to seek reassurance, whether it's Dr. Google or XYZ, you're like, come over to the text messages and send me something you're grateful for.
Yeah.
And I think that is such a beautiful thing. And it's a positive way of rewiring the brain. Of when I have an urge for reassurance, it immediately goes to gratitude. He did what I warned Albert not to
do. It's okay.
So no, I really appreciated that. And I've been implementing that, and your little inbox is just inundated with gratitude.
I just heart it all because I don't know what to say, but I acknowledge that I read all what you're thankful for.
So what is something you are grateful for today?
I am grateful for a nice park to take walks at, to just get outside, even though I don't feel like it. It always makes you feel better to just take a walk. So I'm thankful for that. I'm thankful for days off work where I can just
Those days are always the best.
Yeah. And I'm thankful for our podcast that we can come and share our life together with those who are willing to listen.
Yeah. Well, I'm thankful that I had a free afternoon so that we could figure this out and get this going again. I am really grateful for a job that gives me flexibility. I have recently started taking care of other people's dogs, and I'm a huge animal lover, and so that has been something that's been so perfect and has given me some flexibility and has just proven such a positive thing. I am also really grateful because it is my sister-in-law's birthday today, and so we get to go celebrate with them. That is a whole story for a whole nother day, but basically there was a time when I wasn't allowed to be a part of their lives, and neither was my husband, really. It was very limited. Just due to religious differences, that will be another episode. But that is just such an amazing, sweet thing that I just absolutely don't take for granted, is the ability to be involved in their lives.
Oh, that is a blessing. Okay. I think that we are not good at short episodes.
No, we're not. And I know we're saying we're going to do this as authentically as possible, but my brain is already going, Taylor, you did not give clear-cut answers today.
No,
we need to redo this episode.
Well, I think that we can like circle around and come back in another episode and dive deeper.
Or we can just scratch this thing and redo it.
No, I don't think so.
Here you go, guys. When you see this, you will be able to fully recognize we are very raw and real, and this is very unedited.
Yeah. This is very unedited. Okay. All right. Until next time, thanks for watching.